Welcome to Game On Calgary for October 24th, 2024. I am your host, Conrad Krausert, and it's game day. Carolina Hurricanes come to town. We'll break down the lines today, talk some Flames that have been seen skating, maybe coming off the IR soon, a Flames product that's in a little bit of hot water, and more. But before we get to the Flames talk, we have to once again remind you to go check out Game Over Network's Hyperdrive Hockey. Hosted by Maxime Van Oath and Daphne Malboeuf, Hyperdrive Hockey covers the sport of hockey at large with irreverent humor, quality analysis, and a strong voice that's unafraid to talk about the real issues, whether in the NHL or any league around the world. Hyperdrive Hockey is Game Over Network's flagship show, broadcasting twice a week for Tuesday and Friday. And we were on the Calgary show train for the last few episodes. And if we keep winning, we keep showing up on Hyperdrive. So go check it out on the Game Over Network's hub channel on YouTube or at gameovernetwork.com/pages/Hyperdrive Hockey. But we'll start our news off not in the NHL, but in the OHL, where the Flames' 9th overall draft pick, Zane Parekh, may be in some hot water after being ejected for a very questionable hit on Utah HC prospect Owen Allard late in the Spirits game against the Sioux Greyhounds. Allard was in a dangerous position. He had one of his skates up in the air at around head level, and obviously was not in control of his body, and Parekh comes in and staples him to the boards. Not a good hit, definitely worthy of the boarding call and ejection that he got, but that's not the only thing that has Parekh in a little bit of hot water. As he was heading to the locker room, he was seen waving, jabbing his stick at fans. Allegedly did make contact with a fan as well. Not great, if you ask me. Of course, we don't know what those fans were saying to him. Parech's been in some situations that most NHLers or hockey players don't have to deal with simply because of factors outside of his control. So hopefully that wasn't what led to this incident. But there is a precedent in the CHL for what is the suspension for making contact with a fan. The QMJHL, Zachary Leheroux made contact with a fan in 2023 and got a 10-game suspension. So we have to hope for Parech's development that isn't the case, and we have to hope for the fan that they're okay. But in more positive news, Sportsnet 960's Pat Steinberg reported that Yegor Sharangovich and Sam Honzek both skated today prior to Flames practice. Sharangovich hasn't played in a game yet this season, and Honzek has missed the last 2 games. So having those guys getting closer to being ready, their status moving from week to week to day, is a huge upgrade for the Flames. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. That obviously causes a little bit of a logjam in the lineup, as the Flames are already carrying 23 skaters with them on IR. So if they return, let's say, for Saturday, what do you do? Do you have to, unfortunately, send Sam Honzek down? Maybe get him some rehab start sort of ideas to kind of allow him to get back up to NHL game speed if that's where you want him for the rest of the year? Or do you send 2 guys down? And the only obvious name to send down is Adam Klapka at this point, in my mind. Because he's kind of been that rotational guy, has the waiver status where he doesn't need to actually go on waivers to go down to the A. And then the other guy that's going to be really hard to take out of the lineup is Justin Kirkland. We're going to talk about lines later, and Kirkland has only made himself more and more valuable to this squad. So this is kind of where the cookie crumbles. We'll see when those players do return, and if it's as early as Saturday, we will have more game over for you, or game on rather, tomorrow, if those changes happen. But let's close out today's Game On Calgary with breaking down the lines. These also courtesy of Sportsnet's Pat Steinberg. Dan Ledar gets his first start at home of the season, and he's going to see some changed forward lines in front of him. Ryan Huska has changed it up. Martin Pospisil has been moved up to the right wing, where he'll be playing with Nazem Kadri and as Andrei Kuzmenko. So that's a big change, as Pospisil had been good at center. Not going to say great, good to serviceable. But he's on the wing tonight to get some shifts going on. The Backlund Coleman Zari line is the only one that stays unaltered. But Justin Kirkland Costco jumps in between Huberto and Mantha, trying to add maybe a little bit of his spark to those two's game after a couple of less than phenomenal performances after a hot start to the season for the pair. And Kevin Rooney makes his return between Lomberg and Matthew Coronado, who has slid down to the fourth line. On D, same pairings as against the Penguins. Ball Anderson, Uyghur Maramanov, and Bean Pahal. We'll have to see what this lineup does against a feisty Canes squad. Obviously, the Canes took down the Oilers on Tuesday, coming back from behind the 8-ball 2-1, game-winning goal in the last minute of play. So we'll have to see. Flames and Canes puck drop is at 7 p.m. tonight, but more importantly for this network, after the final whistle goes, it'll be myself and Matt DeMille, where we'll break down all things Flames, maybe have a little bit more discussion if there's any more news about the situation with Parekh or anything else we see in the game. But we'll see you after the game tonight. But that's all for me. We'll see you later today.